everyone, Homemade Happiness. Welcome back to my channel. Today in this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to crochet the crunch stitch. This stitch also is sometimes called the even moss stitch. There are slight differences in the way it's worked up, but the end result looks the same. For the purposes of this tutorial, I'm going to be showing you specifically the crunch stitch, although the end result does look the same as the even moss stitch. This is an easy beginner level stitch. The only two stitches that you need to know are half double crochet and slip stitch. For this tutorial, I'm going to be using worsted weight yarn and an H 5mm crochet hook. So to get started, we're going to get our yarn on our hook, and you will need to chain any odd number. So for this tutorial, I will be making a chain of 15, but this stitch will work with any odd number. So here is my starting chain of 15. So now that I have my odd number of chains, my chain of 15, I'm going to be starting in the third chain from my hook here. And we're going to start with a slip stitch in that third chain. So I'm going to insert my hook in the third chain from my hook, yarn over and pull up a loop, and then pull that first loop through the second one and make a slip stitch. And this chain 2 right here that we skipped counts as a half double crochet. So we have one half double crochet and a slip stitch. Now I'm going to half double crochet in the next. So yarn over, insert your hook into the next chain, yarn over, pull up a loop, and then yarn over and pull through all 3. And then now slip stitch in the next. Pull up that loop and pull it through the loop on the hook. Half double crochet in the next, yarn over, insert your hook into the next chain, pull up a loop and make that half double crochet, and repeat that all the way across, alternating half double crochet and slip stitch. So slip stitch in the next, and continue repeating that across. So I will half double crochet in the next, pull through all 3, and then slip stitch in the next stitch. So here I'm at the last stitch, and I will slip stitch in the last stitch here in my last chain. So I'm going to end this row with a chain. Now for row 2, we're going to be repeating that same row. We'll be working the half double crochets in the slip stitch and the slip stitch into the half double crochets across. So I'm going to start with a chain 2, and the chain 2 counts as my first stitch and turn. And since my chain 2 counts, I'm going to start here in this next stitch where I will work a slip stitch. So here's my first chain 2, which is my first half double crochet. I will slip stitch here in the next. So insert your hook into that stitch and make that slip stitch. And then here is the next slip stitch. This is where I'm going to half double crochet. So yarn over, insert your hook into the slip stitch, and then pull up that loop and work your half double crochet. Now here is the half double crochet. I will slip stitch here in the next. And then here is your next slip stitch. They're a little bit hard to see because they are such short stitches, but if you turn your work over, you could see here's my very next stitch. And this is where I'm going to make that half double crochet. So yarn over and then insert your hook here into the next stitch and half double crochet and slip stitch. So repeat that, alternating a half double crochet in the slip stitch and then slip stitch in the half double crochet. Repeating that across until you get to that chain 2 turning chain. So here are my last 2 stitches. So here is my last slip stitch, and here is the turning chain in the previous row. So these are my last 2. So here's the last slip stitch. I'm going to half double crochet here. Here is that last chain 2, which counts as a half double crochet. I will slip stitch here. And there is row 2. And that is the row repeat for the rest of the pattern. So continue repeating row 2 until the project is the length that you're looking for. I will repeat one more time with you. So the repeat is chain 2, turn, and we're going to skip this stitch here because our chain 2 counts as our first half double crochet. Slip stitch here in the next. And then half double crochet in the slip stitch. So you could see it if you turn your work this way. You could see right here is the slip stitch. And then slip stitch here in the half double crochet. So the trickiest part about this stitch, I think, is finding those slip stitches because they are such a hard to see stitch because they're not very tall. So here's our next one here. Half double crochet there. And then slip stitch in the half double crochet. And we'll repeat that across, ending with a slip stitch in the chain 2. So here are my last 2 stitches. Here's my last slip stitch right here, and here is the turning chain from the previous row. So I will half double crochet in the slip stitch, and this will be a little bit of a tighter stitch because it's the first stitch of the row. It's a little bit trickier to see. And then here is that turning chain, which counts as our first half double crochet. So we will slip stitch here in the turning chain. And repeat that row 2 repeat until the pattern or the project is the length that you are looking for. So here I have a few more rows of that row 2 repeat for the crunch stitch. You can just see this really neat ridged texture that happens when you alternate those half double crochets and slip stitches. It gives such nice texture. I think it'd be a great for a pillow or a blanket. I've used it for a scarf or an ear warmer also. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I will see you next time.